Hey guys, Rockin' Robbo back with some more of the Edain once again against Tiberium, who has become the biggest rival I have, so I suppose, because he's the main one I play. I'm hoping to play a few more other people soon though, and you never know, I might actually win a battle sooner or later. But anyway, this was one we played 4 days ago now, so I haven't got a great memory of what happened, so kind of going to be winging it a bit, really. Trying to remember why I did what I did. Anyway, I found that I was in Imladris this game, and I don't like playing as elves. I'm not an elf player. I don't get them as well. LOTR and Imladris, neither of them I'm particularly good with. Dwarves are my thing. I'm a dwarf player, and I always will be. But I've got to get better with these sooner or later, so really, early game, this is just a case of following the same sort of strategy as usual. Of course, since you've only got one lot of elves, I feel like it's kind of slower, just because you've only got 5 opposed to sort of anywhere up to 40 troops, isn't you? But elves are very powerful, and that's my first big mistake. I build a hobbit farm. This is once again linking back to my I love certain buildings in this game, and I love lore behind Lord of the Rings, and because of that I don't always build the most effective things. And in this case the hobbit farm is not, because you want to be building the other one because it makes your cavalry cheaper. But I just love the idea of a hobbit farm, sort of watching the hobbits running around it and defending it. I just think it's great. So that's why I have to put that aside when I'm playing online and try to remember, I've got to go for the most effective things, not for the most sort of interesting things for me. Anyway, the elves, they tear through these layers, they really do. I suppose on smaller ones it's actually a good thing, but sort of to have a smaller unit, because then they're not standing around doing nothing. Oh, and when I saw that reveal sort of come up on the screen a few moments ago, I assumed I was against Isengard, and I was feeling pretty good about that, because all I needed to do against Isengard was get some cavalry out, because Isengard, it takes a long time for them to get pikemen to counter you, so that was the plan going forward, and that's when I realised maybe going for hobbit farms wasn't a great idea. I bought Gildor just then to get him out and get the settlement down the bottom, and because you've got to have Gildor because he's the best character in the game. I sent him down there and he'd start attacking the warg lair, just killing the wargs until I could actually get something that could destroy the lair. So the elves just tear through that so easily, it's unbelievable. I've gone for more libraries, I think that's what they call them, didn't they? I've gone for more, author's halls, sorry, that's what they're called. I've gone for them because I like the spellbook cooldown time, but I do need some forges obviously to get the upgrades. I heal them up because I don't need the heal spell for anything else at the minute. I actually remember to get the that building. I can't remember what that one is. What is it? A Garden of Imladris. I'm never going to remember that. But I remember to get a couple of them now, so I'm getting my cavalry a bit cheaper when I can finally buy them. Of course, the green pasture is very, very expensive. Then you add in the price of elves, and you're spending a lot of cash on getting these cavalry out. So you need every sort of boost you can get, I suppose. It is amazing how much damage the elves can do, how powerful they are. So I mean, I'm willing to bet that they clear this stuff a lot quicker than any other race, just because of how much damage they do. But of course the elven armies are very small in number, so I suppose if you surround them, it doesn't matter how good you are. If you've got 10 things beating your face in, you're going to get a bit killed. Yeah, I considered building that, but I thought since I don't really take any early attacks from Tiberium, there was no real danger to that Hobbit farm. I really am surprised how quick they've cleared through that. They've done, what, 4 layers now by this point? And we're only a few minutes in. It's just a testament to how good elves are. And I do want to get better with them, but it is hard. I do need to play more online games, because you can't really learn much from playing the brutal AIs anymore, because nobody plays like the bots. I do start buying the defensive upgrades out here just in case Tiberium does go for an attack down the bottom. I think, yeah, I finally decided to get it there. I'm not sure why, to be honest. That was 300 resources. I actually build the resource one down there just so that I'm pumping out a bit more, and by the time he gets down there to trash that, the defensive tower wouldn't have made any difference. So with that, I have some cavalry to take down that lair, and the elves can trash that goblin there. So that's what, they're up to 5 layers now that they've trashed, which will soon go to 6 when they take the Dunlending one over there. I get the barracks up and running. I don't want too many cavalry because they're so expensive. So I'm going to build some infantry, I think. That was the plan. After a few units of cavalry. And I build the Hobbit farm there for some reason, and I don't know why. I healed them because they were looking a bit ropey. And I nearly bought an Author's Hall here, but then I remembered that I needed a library if I wanted to upgrade anything. Once again, showing just how expensive elves are. I mean, to get the archers, you need to spend 300 on the barracks, 700 on the library, and is it another 1200 on the upgrades? And then you've got the cost of the elves themselves, which I think is 600. So you're spending nigh on 3,000 gold. And this is where I make my major mistake of the game. I built a Edain camp because, like with the Hobbit farms, I love the backstory behind the Edain. And I go for the Edain because I think they're cool. I actually sent my horsemen forward here because, like I say, I thought I was against Uruk-hai, so I thought I could probably get an early sort of bit of advantage taking down that settlement, which will be a mine to reduce the cost of Uruk-hai. So that was the plan anyway, and it let me get this. So it got me a little bit more gold. I claimed that and then sent them to do that. I left them to do their thing because I thought, you know, there's no real threat there at the minute. There's the upgrades for that. And then I see I'm against Imladris, and now my plan is kind of in tatters because I built those cavalry to combat sort of Uruk-hai, not really to build sort of to compete against Imladris, because obviously he's going to have Spearman out. Yeah, the amount of points you have to put into a Edain camp before it's useful is just testament to how big of a mistake I made. If I'd just built an outpost, I could have built a couple of resource buildings and a workshop to start building catapults for when I do my eventual siege on his castle, but obviously can't do that with a Edain camp. I sent the cavalry up there just so I could clear those out as well and get that settlement. And it was trying to get some experience, really. I was a little worried at this point because I didn't have many troops, mainly because I'd obviously spent so much on getting the cavalry. and the high command points cost of this army, it means that you've not got a lot of troops. They cost a lot, and you've got to spend 600 on your bloody buildings back in camp to actually get more troops. So it's hard, very hard. But in future as Rivendell, I'll be sure to use Gildor's ability to my advantage. I didn't actually know, and this is legitimate, prior to this game, I didn't know Gildor had a reveal ability. So that was something I learned from this game, and I will be using that in the future, so I can actually properly build an army to counter the enemy, rather than, well, what happened in this one. I actually lost quite a few cavalrymen to that settlement there because I wasn't paying attention. I forgot, because I mean I've got one on the other side that can hit the Warglare up there, and for some reason I forgot that they could sort of shoot my cavalry. So I completely glazed over that. I bought that there just because I wanted to get some the Linden ones out. I make a bit of a mistake there and get the I don't know, I can't remember what it's called now, the Gust of Wind or whatever. I should have waited a little bit and gone for the Hobbits first, just because it's a lot better to have them sort of waiting in the wings than just having a Gust of Wind spell. So I've got all my army down there, as tiny as that is, and decided to bring out Halbrad just so I've got a bit more punch. I see this, and I'm not going to let my farm go without a fight. So I tell that to target the spearmen so that they can die first, and then send my cavalry round to attack them. Obviously the rest of the army needs to join in, otherwise they'll die. And I use my little sort of storm or whatever it is to knock them down. With Halbrad there now as well, I've got a bit more sort of punch, so I was hoping to kill quite a few of these off. However, as soon as the rest of my troops come in, he starts retreating, and really I can't do much to stop him because my infantry can't catch them. So I settled for just trashing the cavalry he had back here, and then returning to the Dunedain camp. I was quite happy there. I killed some cavalry and I defended my settlement, so that had gone pretty well. Of course, I still had a very small army, so I decided that the best way to do things would be to bulk them out with Dunedain. Again, a bad choice, but the Dunedain camp in general is a bad choice. Although I will, in a future video, I think I'll do against a brutal AI, and I will only use Dunedain just for a bit of a laugh, and only use elves like early game to clear layers and get settlements. Just as a little tribute to them, because I will very rarely use them online. They'd be a luxury because they ain't that good when you're sacrificing your powerful elves for them. But I love, like I say, I love the lore behind sort of Middle Earth, all of the Rings things really, and that's what influences some of the things I buy. I'm pretty sure sometime around now I realised how am I going to smash his gates down or his walls down, because I have no siege weapons. Which is obviously why I need to build the outpost and the siege works, or whatever it is, or the workshop. I can't remember what it's called on this. There's so many different races and they call their buildings different things. I was actually kind of confused just then because obviously that reveal spell had happened again, and I didn't know what had caused it. None of the powers to my knowledge did that, so I was wondering how he was doing it. I didn't figure out until late game that Gildor could do that. So, but to be honest, rather than figuring it out, I just focused on the game because I didn't have time to try and figure out how he was using that reveal spell or ability, I suppose. There we go. There's where I realise I need the battering rams. I mean, battering rams aren't great, but they'll do the job that I need them to. Or at least they would do if I had the troops to get them to where I need them. To be honest, I made a bit of a mistake there, I feel like, because I didn't have a lot of troops down there, even with the Dunedain, and then I see all this lot coming my way. I panic bought those two things to counter him, and he has the hobbits as well, so he summoned them around the back, and they're now having a field day with my Dunedain camp. Obviously splitting off some of my troops and leaving it so we're fighting in two places and not winning in either, really. I get the hobbits, but by the time I can actually summon them, it's too late. You know, my troops are dead, and with the best wood in the world, the hobbits aren't going to beat elves in a fight. At this point, I should have just run completely away with everything. I was buying them, and I didn't really want to lose my outpost unless I had to. I actually wasted that unit of elves as well. That's what really made me annoyed about that. I wasted those elves that were really, really good. And I nearly forgot about my Linden Guardians, who, I mean, to their credit, they were doing a great job. They were killing stuff off, getting some levels behind them, but there was just too many. There is one thing about a Dunedain camp, they do defend it very well. So if you have a fair amount of troops there, you've got a chance of defending it, but I had one unit of Linden Guardians. There was no way they could defend against all those elves. I was a bit worried there that his cavalry would stay and just completely butcher my elves, but he kept running. I'm not sure why. I'm honestly not sure what he was chasing. I was amazed that I actually managed to get these battering rams away safely. I think I got out with 3. So that was quite a result, really, considering everything that had happened down there. Obviously, with my outpost being trashed, he then started building his own there. So now I'm against Tiberium, who has his fortress and 2 outposts. So it's not looking good. Not looking good at all. I say, I'm more of a dwarf player, because the last time I actually played against him and I had dwarves, we were pretty much even. Until his game range crashed. Sort of, he'd just taken my outpost, but I was taking his. So it was quite a good back and forth game. I'd really like to have another one like that, but I think I need to get dwarves for that to happen, because I'm just no good with anyone else. Well, that's not strictly true. I'm decent with ones like Gondor, Mordor, and I'd say Angmar to a degree. But the more expensive races, and Rohan as well, I just don't get along well with them. Rohan, I just don't do well with them. I think they're the only race that I actually failed that 45-minute challenge with so far. I've done loads of them in my free time, just trying to get better. I've notched it down to 40 minutes as well. And Rohan's the only one I fail with at the minute. Just because I don't like using them. They are not good. To be honest, I feel like I made a bit of a mistake here, because I know from past experience that Tiberium usually builds 3 resource buildings on his first outpost. and there was not going to be any guards up there, so I could have really thrown my battering rams up there a lot earlier and trashed his outpost. Instead I waited, and I really shouldn't have done. I've already kissed goodbye to this Linden Watchtower here, because there's no way it can stand up to all this. I mean, that's a lot of elves. I think I started moving these out because I was going to send everything up to the outpost to sort of try and take that out. When, like I say, I could have just sent my battering rams up there and that would have been a much better play. Funnily enough, it wasn't actually a bad idea me moving all my troops out, because he then used the ability to see what was going on in my fortress, and there was nothing. I thought about moving them back inside for a minute, but I decided against it. I needed to go on the attack and get something done, otherwise I was just a sitting duck waiting to be killed. I maybe could have left the archers behind, sort of the Linden Guardians and the archers, and just gone with the close combat troops, but I didn't really want to split up my army any more than I had to. Also, pumping out the Elven Twins and, of course, Gildor, because you got to have Gildor. Gildor, the hero we all need. You don't need your Aragorns, your Gandalfs, your Elrons. You need Gildor. Alright, I was going to use them first to take these shots because I was worried about losing one of my battering rams, but I remembered that battering rams don't tend to take much damage from archer towers, so I'd go off with them at the front to take all the archer shots. And with them in front, I was free to charge everything else forward. I sent the battering rams to the middle there just so to make sure that they were taking all the shots. I didn't want anybody getting damaged unless it was absolutely necessary. Tiberium actually summoned his hobbits here, which was a little annoying. And actually showing that it was a good decision to send some troops with the battering rams, otherwise they'd have died. Because even though hobbits are pretty crappy, there's no way that the battering rams would have stood up to them. We tragically killed all the hobbits. I have to say, I feel kind of bad when I kill them, because I don't want to kill the hobbits, really. With the outpost taken, I moved the battering rams up there to hopefully keep them safe, but I realised that Tiberium's probably been watching this whole thing going down, in which case, you know, there's literally no point me sending the battering rams up there, because he's going to know they're there. I send the heroes over to take the goblin lair just for a little bit of gold. I can see that down the bottom there was green taking out my stuff, but there was nothing I could do. And I nearly bought another Edain camp. That's how much I love them. It's weird, I know. I won't make that mistake again. I do actually go for, I think, 2 resource buildings and the workshop on this one. So I can start using this as a base to attack. Oh, maybe not. Nope, I did. Like I said, guys, it's been 4 days since we had this battle, so I haven't actually got a great memory of how I did things. I do know that at this point I was I hadn't actually seen the big block of green until that happened, and I realised that he's taking out my wall with his catapults, of which he has loads. I did that just for a bit of fun. I wanted to summon the hobbits underneath the catapults to try and sort of get rid of them, but that weren't going to work, so I send all my army back towards my base to try and save it, but I'm not holding out a lot of hope for it, in all honesty. Because he's trashing my walls with those catapults and he's not moving in with his infantry. He actually had one of these. I don't know how he managed to get his all the way up to 3. I don't think mine ever gets to 3. I only have a level 1 or a level 2 one. At least I think so. I don't play Rivendell much, so I never really know what I've done with them. I actually moved my battery ram along there thinking I might be able to sneak around the back and take out his wall, but no, he had some troops ready for that, so that was a little annoying. And of course now the catapult's going that way, completely unsupported, so that was basically doomed to death as well. Or do I actually... do I change my mind on that attack? I love how those stairs didn't get destroyed. The rest of the wall has been destroyed, but the stairs, nope, they're in place. Yeah, I threw down my hobbits here, hoping to maybe try and take some the catapults out, but the hobbits are just too weak. You know, they're a nuisance. That's all they're there for, really, to be a nuisance. I did keep trying because I don't give up, but it was not looking good at this point. You know, the hobbits had died. He had a lot of troops here. And he had those golden tip arrows back there, which were just destroying my front line. I should have backed off as soon as I saw him running, but I kept chasing because I wanted to fight. I tried. I fought as hard as I could in there, but he just had higher level troops and there was nothing we could do to stop him. I desperately wanted to destroy those catapults, so I got Tom Bombadil to try and do it. I used the sonic, so I was hoping that it would destroy all of them, but I managed to take down, I think, 2 of the catapults? Or was it just 1? I don't know, but it weren't enough. Right now I know that there's no way I can defend this, so I just decided to run away up top. Why did I build Edain and Elrohir again when I could have got Glorfindel? Because I like Edain and Elrohir in the Dúnedain. That's the only reason. Like I say, a lot of my moves are sort of based on the lore and certain things I love in the background of Lord of the Rings, so sadly the greatest hero to ever grace Middle Earth has been killed yet again, but it's okay, he'll be back in no time. I think I built the Hobbit farm just so it could actually defend itself for about 5 seconds without being destroyed. Since I've literally got no other choices right now, I just start building catapults. And yeah, it's looking bad there, so I'm honestly not sure what I was trying to do at this point. I don't surrender. That's the thing. I don't give up. I know the game is lost and has been for a while, but I don't just give up. So my unit of archers, my heroes, and my catapults are just forming up here. Now I see that he's got quite a lot of green down there, and I think that maybe he hasn't got many points left, so there might be a chance that I could actually take a shot at his fortress as well. Maybe not destroy it, but, you know, take 1 or 2 buildings out. So I throw my troops that way and hope for the best. Not noticing, seriously, not noticing that big wad of green below us that's right there trashing the Hobbit farm. I literally didn't notice them, and because of that, my planned attack doesn't quite go as well as I hoped it would. Gildor leveled up. He's a level 4 now. Cool. He's really racking up the levels. I couldn't believe how long it took him to actually destroy my fortress. He could have done it a lot quicker if he just sent his troops in, but he obviously didn't want to lose any. So at this point, I still haven't noticed that there was all that green behind me. Until about now, I noticed this big wad of green on there, and yeah, that's totally just going to destroy my catapults. There's literally no way I can fight off all these troops. There's all those swordsmen, and I've just got Edain over here, Gildor, and some now dead elf bowmen. They tried their best, but there was nothing they could really do in this scenario. I do like that they made Edain over here one hero. I think that was a nice touch, because of their brotherly bond. That was nice, I like that. They're the little things that some people don't appreciate, you know, the nice little touches like that. Also, you know, I defend the Hobbit layer here because, you know, you got to defend the Hobbits, so I sent all my Hobbits out here. I had no illusions of actually killing anything. I just thought it would be funny to watch the Hobbits try and defend their home. But surprisingly, the Hobbits get butchered in about 10 seconds. Because, you know, they're against elves that are upgraded. I'm really not sure what I'm buying at this point. I think I was just throwing around my resources willy-nilly, just because I couldn't do anything, really. I had to build at least one more catapult, and I love that he used Gildor's ability then. Just like, what were you expecting to see? I was secretly hiding a huge army from him the whole time. And we were going to go on the attack and actually destroy everything. That was my cunning plan, you see. And that was actually the moment that I realised Gildor had the ability to show up a section of the battlefield. Yeah. So, I felt kind of stupid. Probably the dumbest I've ever felt playing a strategy game in general. So we go on the attack, my two heroes and my two catapults, and Arwen basically gets absolutely destroyed. I summoned that down. I don't even know what that does, in all honesty. And then all of them come around to the top, and it's just Gildor on his own to defend everything. Sadly, he didn't last very long. And yeah, this is the end of it for me. I'm finished with this. Yep, and that's the end of it. But that was a great battle, a lot of fun. I believe I saved the replay of it to watch at a later point, so I'll do that to see what I did wrong and hopefully learn from it. But yeah, like I say, great battle, a lot of fun. Thanks again to Tiberium for playing me, and I'm hoping to have a few more battles with him in the near future. Thank you all for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you stick around for more Edain online battles, and I'll see you all in the next one.